Hello, my little ones. Guess what I got here? You guys know what this is? That's a chestnut. And I just roasted it. Just about on an open fire. On a stove, on our wood stove. Because we heat our house. See, I'm going to peel it now. With a wood. So I put that on the top. In a cast iron pan. And roasted them. I'm going to see if they're ready to eat. There it is. Mmm. 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 I like them crunchy too. Where I grew up in Switzerland, there were guys with big, like barbecue grills in the wintertime, and they would roast them right there outside. You could go and buy a little bag, and they're hot, but because your hands are cold, you're going, whoo, yeah, and then you eat them. Mmm. Oh, good. Mmm. Mmm. Yummy. And I picked them myself too. We have a couple of chestnut trees around here. Perfect thing to eat on a cold winter's day. Nice snack. Mmm. 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 Today's story is about the Little Match Girl by Hans Christian Andersen, illustrated by Rachel Isadora. For most of us, Christmas is a really wonderful time, this and that, right? Yes? I always feel that the Little Match Girl teaches us a little bit about people don't have it so good, especially children during Christmas time. Well, this is an old story. Hi, Gus. Let me see Gus. Say hi to the little ones. This is Gus. He's a baby still, too. He looks really big, doesn't he? Yeah. Okay. Here's the first page. It was late on a bitterly cold New Year's Eve. The snow was falling. A poor little girl was wandering in the dark, cold streets. She was bareheaded and barefoot. In the snow, she had no shoes. Oh. She had, of course, had slippers when she left home, but they were not much good, for they were so huge. They had last been worn by her mother, and they fell off the poor little girl's feet when she was running across the street to avoid two carriages that were rolling rapidly by. One of the shoes could not be found at all, and the other was picked up by a boy who ran off with it, saying that it would do for a cradle when he had children of his own. Oh. That's weird. She has little, right? And then she loses her way too big shoes. So the poor little girl had to walk on with her little bare feet, which were red and blue with the cold. She carried a quantity of matches in her old apron, and held a packet of them in her hand. Matches. I bet a lot of children don't even know what matches are anymore, huh? Yeah? Except, because everybody uses lighters now and stuff. Matches were little pieces of wood, and they had a little tiny bit of like sulfur or something at the end of it, and then you could strike it and it would make a little fire. Nobody had bought any from her during all the long day, and nobody had given her a copper. A copper's like a penny. The poor little creature was hungry and perishing with cold, and she looked the picture of misery. Oh, I'm going to see her one more time. Look. Here's the next picture. Oh, there she is. See? The snowflakes fell on her long yellow hair, which curled so prettily around her face, but she paid no attention to that. Lights were shining from every window, and there was a most delicious odor of roast goose in the streets, for it was New Year's Eve. She could not forget that. She found a corner where one house projected a little beyond the next one, and here she crouched, drawing up her feet under her, but she was colder than ever. She did not dare to go home, for she had not sold any matches and had not earned a single penny. Her father would beat her, and besides, it was almost as cold at home as it was here. They had only the roof over them, and the wind whistled through it, although they stuffed up the biggest cracks with rags and straw. Oh, now this is just getting sadder and sadder. Oh, what's happening here? Her little hands were almost stiff with cold. Oh, one little match would do some good. If she only dared, she would pull one out of the packet and strike it on the wall to warm her fingers. She pulled out one. Rush! How it sputtered and blazed! It burned with a bright, clear flame, just like a little candle, when she held her hand around it. Oh. She's forgetting about her worries, right? Now the light seemed very strange to her. The little girl fancied that she was sitting in front of a big stove with polished brass feet and handles. There was a splendid fire blazing in it and warming her so beautifully. But what happened? Oh, what happened? I don't know. Let's go find out. Oh, what happened? Can you guys tell what happened? Just as she was stretching out her feet to warm them, the flame went out, the stove vanished, and she was left sitting with the end of the burnt match in her hand. Aww. It's like magic matches. Oh, and what happened here? What is she holding in her hand again? She struck a new one. It burnt, it blazed up, and where the light fell upon the wall, it became transparent like gauze, and she could see right through it into the room. The table was spread with a snowy cloth and pretty china. A roast goose stuffed with apples and prunes was steaming on it. And what was even better, the goose hopped from the dish with the carving knife sticking in his back and waddled across the floor. What? It came right up to the poor child, and then the match went out, and there was nothing to be seen but the thick black wall. Well, what's next? Oh, can you see? What did she do? Looks like she lit another match. She lit another match. This time she was sitting under a lovely Christmas tree. It was much bigger and more beautifully decorated than the one she had seen when she peeped through the glass doors at the rich merchant's house this very Christmas. Thousands of lighted candles gleamed under its branches, and many colored pictures, such as she had seen in the shop windows, looked down at her. No, sounds more like it's around Christmas time, Christmas Eve, than New Year's Eve. Oh, what is that? Let's find out. The little girl stretched out both her hands toward them. Then out went the match. All the Christmas candles rose higher and higher till she saw that they were only the twinkling stars. One of them fell and made a bright streak across the sky. Oh, it's a shooting star. Someone is dying, thought the little girl, for her old grandmother, the only person who had ever been kind to her, used to say, when a star falls, a soul is going up to God. Oh, how wonderful. Oh, look. I think that must be her grandmother. Oh, sounds like her grandmother is already with God. Now she struck another match against the wall, and this time it was her grandmother who appeared in the circle of flame. She saw her quite clearly and distinctly, looking so gentle and happy. "Grandmother!" cried the little creature. "Oh, do take me with you! I know you will vanish when the match goes out. You will vanish like the warm stove, the delicious goose, and the beautiful Christmas tree." Oh. Oh, what's happening here? She hastily struck a whole bunch of matches because she did so long to keep her grandmother with her. The light of the matches made it as bright as day. Grandmother had never before looked so big or so beautiful. She lifted the little girl up in her arms, and they soared in a halo of light and joy, far, far above the earth, where there was no more cold, no more hunger, and no pain, for they were with God. Oh. In the cold morning light, the poor little girl sat there in the corner between the houses, with rosy cheeks and a smile on her face, dead, frozen to death on the last night of the year. New Year's Day broke on the little body still sitting with the ends of the burnt-out matches in her hand. She must have tried to warm herself, they said. Nobody knew what beautiful visions she had seen, nor in what a halo she had entered with her grandmother upon the glories of the new year. And that's the end of the story of the little match girl. You think that's a sad story? You know how that story is a sad story? that nobody cared about that little girl. Yes? Nobody noticed how cold this little girl was, or that in the snow, having a cold winter day, evening, nobody noticed she wasn't wearing shoes and didn't have any mittens and didn't have warm enough clothes and no hat. Nobody noticed. Everybody's so busy, huh? Busying around. And in many ways, then, the matches, the light from the matches, and God's love made the last few moments on earth beautiful for this little girl, right? Yes? One could say, oh, what a sad story, right? It's a sad story in some ways, not because of the little girl, because of the people around the little girl who didn't notice, right? How she was suffering. But then the beauty of on how this little girl was received by her grandmother who loved her, right? Yes. And together they went where? Yes. To her heavenly parent, right? Yes, in heaven. Oh. Anyway, I think it's a beautiful story. If you have the proper heart to mind. And maybe we can all learn a little something from the story. Yeah. All right. Well, there it is. One thing, too, for children, don't be a bully. Don't bully others, okay? Be kind to each other, right? Always. Yes? Good. That's what I wanted to share today. Oh, it's my birthday, by the way. A good birthday story, huh? I mean, for me, on my birthday. For you guys, on my birthday. To you, from heaven. Yes. All right, there it is. God's love and blessings to you all, my little ones. May your guardian angels and your parent angels, yes, your parents are your angels around you as well, protect you. Make sure you're warm, right? And they have food and make Christmas and New Year's a beautiful happening. With everything you want, with what you need. And what do you need? Really, truly. Right? Yes. All right. That is it. And I will tell you a story very soon.